Hi, hello, and welcome back to another episode of my podcast. Now, what was I talking about? My name is V Noir, and this week I'm talking about the movie Sylvie's Love, which it came out in 2020. Which, wow, what a year! Can't believe that was 6 years ago. Can't believe we are still dealing with. I was gonna say fascism, but I mean yes, and also a pandemic, and also just everything. I mean, that man looks like he's about to drop, which is going to be a crazy time. I don't know why I said it like that, but a lot of people are going to die if he like dies. Like they're going to be like there's no way whatever. I'm not going to I'm not going to think about it. But yeah, so this movie came out in 2020. It apparently premiered in Sundance like the beginning of 2020, like January. Like yeah, when Sundance happens. So, January. And then it premiered on Amazon in December. And like I remember when this came out, I did want to see it, and then it was 2020, so I just completely forgot about it, honestly. But apparently, since I'm in like a Tessa Thompson mode right now, as like her as the leading lady, since I just talked about Hida, let's just follow that pattern. Like she's gorgeous. And it is kind of funny because this movie takes place in like 1950s, 1960s Harlem, and Hida was more in 1930s. And it's like technically these two characters would, be they would exist within the same time frame essentially, but I mean, it would be kind of funny to think about like, oh, Hida left England and moved to Harlem, or like this is actually where she was originally from and all this stuff. But no, it's like they're two distinctly different characters, and this kind of just goes to show like Tessa Thompson's like range. She is very good at doing like these subdued expressions and stuff, very much like a film actor. I think she's done stage things as well, but I think she's able to um be well, I haven't seen her on the stage, so I don't know. But like stage acting and like acting for the camera, two very different things. Um and so like for people who go from stage acting to acting on camera, they are less subtle about their facial expressions, but I love shit like that. I'm like, ooh, I love a character actor. Or no, I love a theater actor who now is kind of just a character actor because they're so expressive. I think that's also a reason why I love like Nicolas Cage. Ooh, I'm so excited for the Spider Noir show that's coming out. I didn't realize that they were doing that. I thought it was going to be animated. But the fact that they are doing like not only a black and white version of it, but also an in color version, I'm like, oh, damn it. I am very excited for this. Like, hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. But and the black and white gorgeous. I'm like, okay, so they definitely shot it with black and white in mind, because even though I didn't see the color trailer, but I only saw like the true black and white trailer. And it's like, look at that level of contrast. Look, they're emulating film noir. Yes, good. I love it. I was also like, oh, damn. I'm definitely seeing how much Nicolas Cage is aged now. And I'm like, oh, the passage of time is real. But, it's nice to, as someone who has been suicidal for a lot of my life, to age is, feels like such a beautiful thing. And, it's like, I don't want to stay looking like my younger self. Like, I'm okay with aging. It sucks that, um, there's like such a big push on like forever young and youthful and stuff. And it's like, I don't even want to look like that because during that time in my life, I didn't want to exist. So it's like, I don't want to feel I don't want to be reminded of that, you know? And it's such a privilege to grow old, and like aging is so beautiful as well. It's like all the wrinkles, like just thinking about like how the wrinkles are kind of just like your emotions like living on your face, you know? It's like if somebody has so many smile lines, it's like wow, they actually might have had a enjoyable life, you know? Like they had a life full of laughter. Like that's something very beautiful to me. Um and even if they did like, frown lines and stuff, and it's like maybe they weren't angry all the time, but it's like wrinkles just, you wearing your emotions and your life on your face through your wrinkles and stuff. I think that's very beautiful. And then, it kind of sucks that we're in a society that cares so much about youth and beauty, quote unquote, and it's like you can be old and beautiful. You don't have to be young looking and old, to be considered beautiful. It's so interesting when like people, now that I'm like in my 30s, it's like when people who are much older than me are like and are celebrities, and people point out like, "Oh, they don't look their age. They look like they're in their 20s or their 30s." And it's like now that I actually am those ages, like 30s, I'm like, "No, he definitely looks like he's in his 40s. He just looks good. It's okay for this person to look good and be in his 40s because I remember what he looked like when he was in his 20s, you know?" Like that's also something else too. It's just like, oh no, I remember what these people looked like when they were younger. You can't even say they look like their 20-year-old self when I know what that looked like. And their face was maybe like chubbier because they still had like their baby fat and stuff. Um, and you just age out of that as well. It's like, especially in like your early 20s, you still have this like youthfulness about you because you still have a lot of your like sort of teenage characteristics, like, like bigger cheeks and stuff. And it's like, no, that's just your youth. You're not fat in the face, you guys. It's just you got a lot of collagen, you got a lot of stretchy fat in your face. I want to pinch it. um, but and then, like through time that slims down. Like that's just what happens. Unless, looking at your family, that's just genetically what you're going to look like. I think that's another thing too is like when you idolize other people and you look at yourself, you're like, why don't I look like this? Even though we're the same age or something. And it's like, no, don't look outward at other people and think that you are going to have like the same expectations, right? Like you have to look at your family. You have to look at the people around you, your immediate family, because then that'll give you an expectation of how you'll look when you're older, how you'll age, and, like what will happen to you more than likely. And it really sucks um when people have like such a low self-esteem that they change make all these changes, and it's like, well, now you're just going further and further away from like your ancestry essentially. um and I feel like that's that's not for me to speak on as well because I don't know people's situations and stuff. And like I think about Michael Jackson and how he changed his nose because he didn't want to look like his dad who abused him, so it's like people have all kinds of circumstances and stuff. It's like my biggest thing is like as long as your self-esteem is like super high and you're like, no, I just think if I do this little thing, my life will be better. And then you do it, and then you don't continue to chase after this ideal that is not realistic. Like it really comes down to how you actually feel about yourself and body neutrality, essentially. Like there's body positivity, of course. But I think body neutrality is just as important, and like just having a neutral feeling about yourself, like love your body, love yourself. It's like your body is doing so much to keep you alive, first of all. And then seeing getting to a neutral stance about your body, and then, loving yourself and, moving through life. We all got one life to live. I'm like, the world shouldn't be this hard. Why is everything like this? But what was I saying? I got on a tangent, but I'm like, love yourself. You only have one body, you only have one life. And like, again, look to your family for beauty standards. Don't look to celebrities that, have a whole other genetic their genetics are just crazy. Like, that's one of the reasons why they're famous, probably. Um, but anyway, to get into Sylvie's love, I definitely remember when like the trailer came out. I'm like, I forgot I had this like Jackson Wang background for a second, and I was like, oh. I'm super excited to see him live, but I'm also like, I am trying not to be like overwhelmed by like his powerful aura. So I'm like training myself to like look at his like hot photos and not like not overreact, but like not be overwhelmed. So like I'll look at his hot photos and then think of something embarrassing that he's done in order to like make me not be overwhelmed. I'm like, oh yeah, he's hot, but he's such a dork. Like, oh gosh. Like there was like what? He just came out with like Sex God, or he premiered it but it's not streaming yet at the Louis Vuitton Pharrell thing in Paris like a few weeks ago. Love that song. It's so catchy. And then like what, a week later or something, he was at the Tyson Yoshi concert, and people were throwing bras at like Tyson because that's like what people do at his concert. And this man goes up to Tyson and grabs a bra from him, not knowing what it was at first. And then he looks at it and he's just like stunned. And then he like places it down gently. And then he's like, it looks like he feels bad about doing that. So he picks it up and then gives it back to Tyson. And then Tyson's just swinging them around. And then Tyson hands him all of them. And then he like just cradles them and then gives them to someone else. Like, I don't know why he just looks so uncomfortable. And like at first I was like, does he like why is he acting like he doesn't know what a bra is? Because I'm like, you can't come out with a song called Sex God and not know what a bra is. I'm like, I know he doesn't do one night stands and shit because he said that in an interview, but like, come on, man. But like something like that, where I'm like, okay, he's so sexy, and then I like have to force myself to remember that he was stunned at a bra, like, so I'm not like overwhelmed when he's like in front of me. When I see him in April, because I'm in the middle section, kind of near the front. I got VIP 2, not VIP 1. VIP 1 was gone, and I was only in the queue for like 5 or like 10 minutes, I think. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. Um Also, oh my god. Please, first of all, if you're going to the Oakland show, there are still VIP 2 tickets, which is the sound check party. Just buy those tickets. Just buy them. Don't try to get the resale tickets because you you can't get a resale ticket like, okay, wait, let me pause. If you see a seat that you like and it's like very in the front and it's reasonable priced, it's not the fucking $3,000 resale price that some people are being assholes about. Um it's reasonably priced. It's like $300, $400. VIP 2 is 400. Um and you're like, "Okay, yeah, this is probably VIP." And you go to get it. The VIP um options like that, doesn't transfer to the new ticket. So even if you buy this ticket, you won't get the VIP benefits. So if you see VIP still available, just buy it. Like don't worry about the fact that oh, there's like seats further up. The benefits don't transfer unless you're able to get the person's like a photo of their ID, because the VIP benefits are tied to that person's like legal name or whatever name is attached to the Ticketmaster account, right? Like so you have to have that person's ID, or you have to like go through like Ticketmaster customer service and try to transfer all this and like do all this like work to get the benefits. But I think even in the frequently asked questions or whatever, it says that VIP benefits do not transfer. They don't transfer. So if you see VIP tickets still available at whatever venue that you're trying to get, trying to see him at, just buy it. Don't try to buy any like front row tickets that you see on resale because it won't transfer to you. Like don't fall for the fucking $2,000, $5,000 front row seat tickets, because more than likely that was supposed to be VIP 1, which is the photo op and the soundtrack party and like um early access to the um merch, but it's not going to transfer to you, so you're going to miss out on all of that, and you just spent $3,000, $5,000 or some crazy ass number when the original ticket it was like probably for VIP 1 it was probably like 700, I think, maybe 600. I don't think it was that much more than the VIP 2, which I only paid like 400. It was like 439 or something, like because of the taxes and shit. But I'm like, yeah, no, don't fall for the resale prices. The benefits, the VIP benefits do not transfer unless you're able to get this person's like a photocopy or that ID. You will not get the VIP benefits. Very important. Like that's in the frequently asked questions. So be on Ticketmaster, look at different dates. The Oakland show still has plenty of VIP 2 tickets, so you'll at least be able to see him during the sound check party and access to merch. And I'm like, yeah, those those seats are probably like more important anyway, because then that's probably how he picks like the sound check party and the photo op are probably how he picks people to go on stage with him. That's my like own speculation, because I'm like, oh yeah, that's like the only time he's able to actually see people because all the lights are up. But I'm not sure. I haven't been to his concert. Nobody wants to discuss how they get picked either. So I'm like, I mean, I think he just probably goes in the crowd and he's like, oh, this person, cool. You're single, right? And you're above 18. All right, let's get on the stage. Let me do this. Let me create this fantasy for everybody, you know? Which is why I'm like, is he even going to pick me? I'm like taller than him, I think. So, and I'm like the fantasy, like the person has to be shorter than him, I think. At least. Um, I don't think he has. It's hard to tell if he has a complex about his like height or anything. I'm like, I like shorter guys. I like short. I like guys that are shorter than me. And I joked about this with my friend, and it, and it's because they're already below me, so it's easier to like command them and everything because I'm a dom, and I mean, I literally had the fucking I love submissive guys in femdom situation episode, and yeah, no, I do. And guys shorter than me are already like below my eye level. The only thing that's good about a guy taller than me is that I get him to go on his knees, you know? Like that's that's what is appealing about that. But otherwise, shorter guy is fine. As long as they don't have a complex about their height. I don't give a fuck. I'm like, you can be shorter than me, you can be taller than me. As long as you can make me laugh, honestly. I'm like, life is so hard. I do not want to deal with a cis man. Um, I'm like, they gotta be little fruity. You can be bi. Um, with a cis man who hates my guts, you know? Like, let's let's be real, because a lot of cis men give that they hate women in femmes and are actually just wanting to be homo romantic with their bros and just sexually involved with women because that's what they think they should do. But I digress. I, I'm non-binary. I am AFAB. God, it's been so long since I've been in a relationship, though. I don't know. Oh, because I'm talking about Sylvie's love, um, but yeah, I'm like, it's been so long since I've been in a relationship, and like literally like 2018, like it's been that long, and I just haven't been with someone since then because I wanted to like honestly figure out what I wanted in a partner. I wanted to figure my own life out. I wanted to gain the will to live, really. And then I just like with my dad passing away, I definitely was like, life is too short, to not do the things that I love. And not only is that something that I actually genuinely said to myself, when my dad passed away in 2023. So it's going on like 3 years now. He did pass away at the end of February that year. So we are coming up on his death anniversary. But not only is that something that I said to myself during that time, and I was like, let me figure out what I actually want to do with my life, because I'm like, I do want to live, right? Like, even though his passing was really hard for me, um, and it's not like we had that great of a relationship. Like I wish so many different things, but like you can't really change a person. Um, no matter how hard you try, and I'm like saying that about relationships and stuff too. It's like romantic relationships and romantic partners. It's like no matter how much you see like the potential in someone, if they're not willing to change themselves, like without any exterior motivations, like if they like don't in like interiorly, if that's even a word, if they don't internally want to change themselves, then they're probably not going to change, no matter how many times they say this. Because if their actions aren't meeting their words, then they're really not about that life. They're not about shit, really. Um, but yeah, so like even though that's something like I genuinely said to myself during that time and like since, and why I'm getting into like cinema and continuing on this podcast and stuff, that is something that is said in this movie by the love interest and then later on by Sylvie herself when her dad passes away. And yeah, I feel like that was enough of a tangent. I didn't even mean to like talk about Jackson Wang, but you know, it's something I'm looking forward to. I got to meet him last year. That was really fun. Um, I um I didn't do anything. Uh, what am I gonna say? But yeah, I'm like, 'cause he has this fucking photo of him in a bathrobe on a bed, and the camera is looking down, and I'm like, what is this? Are you like, what are you do? What are you trying to do to people? And then he was also like, have this as your wallpaper, change your wallpaper, and I'm like, stop trying to tell me what to do, Jackson. I'll do it, I guess. I try not to like have people as like backgrounds for things. Oh my god, I went back to talking about him because he's on my like tablet as a wallpaper, and I use my tablet for bringing up those like synopses and stuff. So like that's why I am again talking about him because I just saw his face. Um, he's a gorgeous man. Um, with or without makeup too. Like makeup, he feels like ethereal. Without makeup, I'm like, okay, you are a man and you're very attractive. I also like it when he has like facial hair too. So I'm like, oh, you're hot shit. Like actually, like you're attractive to me. I'm like, wow, you can grow facial hair. Apparently, he grows facial hair really fast too. Anyway, okay, but no, just to go back to like Ticketmaster and shit. Fucking hate Ticketmaster, but be careful about resale tickets. The benefits do not transfer. Be careful about that. Um, maybe y'all will also do my like techniques and stuff and try not to be overwhelmed by him if you ever like meet him in person or he takes y'all on stage or something. It's like there's so many like him being silly funny for me to just be like, all right, let me just implant that in my brain and brainwash myself into thinking that this really attractive man is kind of goofy. He's kind of dorky. Like he's adorable. He's a little silly guy. Like, what do you mean you're running away from this like beautiful woman? Because I saw like some clip of I forgot what it's called, but it was like when they're like recording all of Got Seven when they're in the dorms or whatever, and like this woman, this gorgeous woman, was like coming over to see them or whatever, and he was just running away from her, and I was like, "What do you mean you're running away? Like, what is this? What is this? Like, that's so cute." Ah. Anyway, God, did not want to talk. Like, did not want to go on a tangent about him. But okay, Sylvie's love. We're gonna get into it. Oh, I was saying that Hida and Sylvie are two very different characters, and this goes to show like how um good Tessa Thompson is as an actress or actress. I'm so tired of like gendered things because I'm like, truly the main reason that a lot of things are gendered is because men don't want to lose to women and then therefore feel inferior or whatever, and it's just like upholding patriarchal beliefs, and it's like, no, we're all kind of the same. But if one gender is treated like they're dainty and need to be protected, and the other one is treated like they need to be the protector, then one gender is missing out on similar things, like similar trainings and like things that the other gender would be going through. Because it's like, yeah, if people were given the opportunity from like day one to do sports, work out, gain muscle and stuff at the same time, there wouldn't be that big of a difference. But we digress. I'm like, the fact that Hess, like, I knew all of this was like just fucking made up and shit. Like, the fact that chess is a gendered game just goes to show, like, there's like some inferiority complexes going on. Because what the fuck do you mean chess? But okay, going back to Sylvie's love, for real now. To get into the synopsis, when a young woman meets an aspiring saxophonist in her father's record store in 1950s Harlem, their love ignites a sweeping romance that transcends changing times, geography, and professional success. This movie is like an hour 59? An hour 54. So it was pretty long. I did have to take breaks only because after like 40. Okay, let me rewind. So you start off with Sylvie waiting to go to like a show, and then all of a sudden she sees this man and she's like, Robert? And he's surprised, she's surprised. And then we go 5 years in the past and we see her, shorter hair, working at this record store. We see Robert, he's a saxophonist, he's working with this other group of musicians. And um on like one of his strolls, he sees like a help wanted sign at this record store where she is there. And so he goes in there, try to flirt with her, but also see if he can work there. And she's like, "Oh, I don't work there." And oh wait, no, I guess her parents are together. Okay. I was when I was watching this yesterday, I was talking to my roommate. I was talking through some of the plot to my roommate who hadn't watched like the first half, about how it was hard to tell if her parents were still together. But they are, because I just remembered that Sylvie's like, we're not actually hiring, like we are and we aren't. We don't need the extra help because I'm here mainly to watch TV, but my mom doesn't want people to think that they can't afford to have people work there at her dad's shop. And her dad is played by Lance Reddick, who did pass away in like 2023. Oh God, he passed away at the same time, the same year that my dad did. Didn't realize that. Made me a little bit more sad now. I was already like kind of sad seeing him in this movie because I knew he passed away. So, um, and I've seen him in like plenty of other stuff, like what is it, Corporate? And he's in like the John Wick series, from The Wire. So I was very like, just like that's just such the power of like photography and film is like you're able to keep people alive through that as a medium. So even though this man, passed away, it's like I can still see him alive and kicking in this movie. But I did get a little sad when he showed up, and is playing Tessa Thompson's dad in this. And um what else was I? Okay, so yeah, so so her dad shows up and he meets Robert and he's like, "Yeah, you're hired. Whatever. Sure." Even though, Tessa Thompson just went through all of this and saying like, "No, we're not hiring actually. That's just a sign there." Um and of course, uh I'm going to go back to calling her Sylvie and not Tessa Thompson. Sylvie is like enamored by this man and she talks to her cousin Mona about it. And, Mona's like, "Well, is he attractive?" And he's like, "Not that I noticed." And it's like, uh-huh. That much. Mm-hmm. And so they do hit it off a bit, her and Robert. And then she brings up that she does have a fiance, but he's in Korea. And it was just like, oh, shoot. She has a fiance. That sucks. But then we get through her talking to Mona that, she doesn't even actually want to be with this fiance of hers. And it really kind of was more forced upon her because of her interest in other people. And we do also kind of get this like there's a lot of like subtext to be read in this film, like there's a lot of world building and things like that where it's like, okay, so her mom, like she definitely comes from like this upper middle class, like the black elites. Like she lives in this brownstone. Um her mom runs a like etiquette school for black children, like so it's like, oh, okay. She comes from money, and the record store is probably just like a fun thing that her dad is doing. It keeps him busy. Um, but the mom is probably the one with all the wealth, really. And so Sylvie also has this like very strong interest in television and making TV, which her dad kind of is just like a Negro girl in television. No way. It's the 1950s in New York. you know, like dream even bigger. because it's probably not going to happen because racism. And but Robert is, pretty inspired by her, and he talks about how he gets into music and why he's doing what he's doing. And it's like he was taking care of his sister first. He was working at a mill. He's like originally from Detroit. He is self-taught with the saxophone, and on his like side of like the storyline and everything like that, you can tell that he's the one with the most talent in his band and his crew, because this woman called the Countess seeks him out specifically, but he's like, no, but it's the whole band, because he's nice like that. And I feel like he lacks confidence in a way, but essentially he gets all of them to show up, and then they get paid like a generous amount. But the shady fucking guy, and we kind of come back to this. I'm like, what was his name again? I guess his name was Dickie. Was his name Dickie? There's actually like a lot of characters in this. I'm gonna say his name is Dickie because he's a dick. Like that makes sense to me, right? That makes sense to y'all. Yeah, he was Dickie. um, she gives Dickie the money, and we learn later on that he was definitely not splitting the money how he should, but also he was the sole like he held the sole ownership of the songs that they recorded, even though Robert was a part of the music making aspect of it. So Dickie was racking in all the royalties while no one else was getting anything. I'm like, that's so fucked up. What do you mean? Like, fuck you. Oh my god. But we learn that later. On this is a long movie. But we learn that later. And so what else happens? Okay. So she does end up like kissing him after they go see this like music performance. They see a performance of some kind. Oh wait, no, 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 no. She shows up to see him perform, and then she's like, "Oh, he's like, well, back where I'm from, when people go on a date, they usually get a kiss goodnight." And she's like, "That technically wasn't a date, so no." And then she's like, "Well, technically, I did show up." And then she runs off and like kisses him. I'm like, there are very romantic parts in this movie, but it is very sad. It also is romantic drama. So there is a lot of drama in this. And gosh, it was getting frustrating for me. That's why I had to pause. So because of Robert's talent and the Countess now acting as acting manager for them, she's able to book the boys in Paris. She gets them a well paying gig, and he has to leave by the end of the month. Him and Sylvie have been, together a lot, also physically. She said it was extraordinary to Mona, and Mona's like, I've had plenty of sex and it's never been extraordinary. You definitely have something there, girl. And Sylvie finds out that she's pregnant. She finds out that she's pregnant, but and so Robert's like, you should come with me, to Paris. We'll figure it out, like, because he was the one that brought up, like, you only have one life to live, and I'd rather you doing it. I'd rather spend time doing something I love. And she's just like, how do you know that you love the thing? And it's like, you just know. And, so he was doing like this whole I just know thing, because he said that after his mom passed away. Or he decided to pursue music fully after his mom passed away. And then that's when he said that phrasing after doing like a retelling of why he got into music making to her. And so yeah, so he's just like, no, Like, I love you, without saying I love you. And that's why he wanted her to go to Paris with him. And she's just like, what if we don't work out? And everything like that. Like, and he's just like, it'll be okay. And so she, first of all, this was crazy. So the boys were all packed up, ready to go to the airport. They're like, all right, we gotta go. Our flight leaves in an hour. And I'm like, what do you mean your flight leaves in an hour and you're just going to the airport? That is not reality right now. I'm just like, yeah, show up 3 hours ahead of the time. And maybe that's not even enough time. Maybe that's not even enough. You never know. TSA fucking sucks. I think it got better now that you don't have to remove your shoes. But still, SFO is a really good one though. I'm trying to remember if the Atlanta one is good. I think so. Like it's good enough. I think it's just funny that they have little holograms there that are like, you can't bring your gun. You leave your gun at home. Like, don't, no, stop. Like, take your gun out. Like, don't bring your gun. It's so funny. I'm like, oh yeah. Is it an open carry state? I can't remember actually. I gotta go back there, visit my family. Um, I don't care about gun laws. I mean, I do care about gun laws, but I don't care about gun laws in Atlanta specifically. Um, but I'm like, God, there should be more control over guns in this country. And in general, corporations should not be able to bribe their way into laws being more favorable for them. Like, fuck that. Like, literally, fuck that. Oh, God, I just remembered that. I just remembered that Dawson from Dawson's Creek just passed away from like cancer. James Vanderbeek. Like, that's so sad. I was like, didn't really expect him to die, like it's kind of crazy how many people so far from like things I grew up with passing away and they're only in like their 40s, like he was only 48. He wasn't even 50. And then his family had to do like the whole gun GoFundMe. Oh God, I was about to say gun fund me. Jesus Christ. I'm American. I go to mention guns. No. No, no, no. Um yeah, but finding out that his wife is like anti-vax or something. I I don't know. But I'm just like that's so sad that he passed away and like Dawson's Creek is such a iconic show for like a generation, it's just sad all around, I think. But to get back to Sylvie, Sylvie's love. So she decides not to go to Paris with him, but she does tell him goodbye. She does not tell him that she's pregnant, though, because she makes a decision to not have to force him to choose between his music career or his, future child. Um, and I'm like, they both end up being stubborn in this way, honestly, which really sucks. It's just like rather than talking it out and communicating. But I think it's also because they both understand what kind of people they are, because he would have just figured out a way to make it work, even if that meant him having to put his career on hold, which she didn't want him to do, which is why she ultimately took the decision making away from him. But it's like, that's pretty selfish of you to just not even include him. And then we jump 5 years later and we see them, or no, sorry. We jump ahead a little bit and no, we do jump 5 years later. We jump 5 years later, but it's before she runs into Robert. That's what happens. So at this point, she is married. She has a child. I assume that the child was still Robert's and not her new husband, and she didn't get like a whole abortion or whatever. I mean, she could have afforded it, probably. But no, she didn't get an abortion. She had the child. I assumed it was Robert's because, she loves that man. And we meet her husband, and he's awful. And this was the first time I had to pause. I was just like, fuck, I hate this guy. Because she was working at this TV network, and then she finds out that there is a assistant producer position, and she's just like, oh, I should just go for that. I'm gonna go not audition, interview for that. And she finds out that the producer is actually a black woman, and she's just like, I didn't even know like Negro women could be producers. So that's why I'm wanting to do this job, even though I have no qualifications or anything like that. And I am technically a housewife, married housewife, and all this stuff. And this woman takes her on, and I'm like, oh, this is so inspiring. Look at her. Look at her living her TV dreams. And so she comes home with this good news, and her husband is first, it's like, oh my God, I got the account. Yay, let's celebrate. And she's like, I'm going to be an assistant producer. And he's like, and? I was like, fuck you. I hate you. You've barely been here and I already hate you. Like, fuck you. What do you mean you're not going to be supportive of your wife's dreams? And so he's like, we're going to have these people over tomorrow. And she's like, I literally just got this job. I can't not go to work. And he's like, what do we talk about when it comes to you and working? That it shouldn't interfere with your wifely duties. I was like, fuck you again. Fuck you. I hate you. Make that dinner your goddamn self. But so it's kind of funny because it's like the show she's working she's an assistant producer for feels like a mix of a like Lucy O'Ball show and a Julia Stiles show. Is that her name? Okay, I fucked up both their names apparently. So Lucy Ball and Julia Child, those are the people that I was thinking of that this person was trying to emulate a bit. Like her style was more like Julia Child, but she was named similar to Lucy Ball, and kind of love that. Like she's great. But it's this cooking show, and so she's basically wrapped for the day like an hour before the dinner is supposed to happen, and she's just like, hey, so what do y'all do after you're done with the food? Talking to the woman. And she's like, actually, I have no idea. And she's just like, can I take this? And she's like, yeah, go ahead. Fuck him. Like, fuck your husband for trying to make you cook a dinner. And tells her to like preheat the oven, cook it in the oven for at 350 or whatever. And so she succeeds in having dinner for this fucking dinner of these two people that came over, and also going to work. I'm like, look at that. She didn't actually have to do the labor of cooking a full fucking meal. Love that for her. And so it's these two white people that work at the same job as their husband. And when the men go off to smoke their cigars or whatever, the wives are talking. And his wife mentions to Sylvie that the NAACP was actually after, their husband's corporation because of discriminatory practices in hiring. And she's just like, I mean, I didn't even know your husband was a Negro over the phone. He's just so articulate to Sylvie. And I was like, oh my God. Oh, I hate it here. Ugh. And and I was just like, oh, this kind of goes to show it's like, yeah, you can be from this like black elite, society and everything, come from money, have all this education. But at the end of the day, racist white people will be racist white people. That's why something like respectability politics don't matter in the face of racism because they don't fucking care. They're literally like, I hate you because you're black, and that's it. or I dislike you because of the color of your skin. And it really sucks that that's the society we live in, where there is this need to see other races as inferior because of the color of their skin and nothing else. It's like, oh, your racial biases are showing because why are you assuming this and this and this without any evidence? Like, that's also why representation matters, because if people are able to see diverse diversity on screen, on television, they'll realize that, like, oh, people aren't a monolith. People can exist as many different things. And I was seeing something about like how the representation of something like gay people on television as not just like these funny side characters, but having their own um you know shows where they are represented as like the main character, helped people to fucking, I hate this, but helped people to humanize and understand gay people, um, as fucking people, and help change people's opinions of something like that. And it's like, yeah, that's why it's important for Black people of all different kinds, not just people from like rough upbringings, but more of like a lot of fucking Black people are just fucking nerds, man, that love anime. I'm one of them. Like, that is just the reality. Like, so many, like, Black people are so different. And I keep thinking about this too, because it's like with with our culture being this sort of thing that gets exported out to the world and consumed and then regurgitated through other cultures, different means of like doing it. It's like, yeah, you're taking the thing, but you're not humanizing the people that created it. Like, you still have these racial biases, you still have all this stuff. So it's like, sure, you're like appreciating it, but if you're only seeing it as American culture and not Black American culture, then you really aren't seeing it that differently. Which is why I do appreciate when as an example, like K-pop artists and stuff that do, say they have like a some sort of relationship to R&B and rap, and like growing up with like 90s rap and R&B and stuff and having appreciation for it, and actually being able to name artists like Jackson Wang is someone who is like that. And I mean, his name is Jackson. Like, he's named after Michael Jackson. Like, it's funny. I'm like, somehow I circle back onto him. But either way, it's just like it's really frustrating for, you know, to see your culture get exported in this way, and then especially bastardized when it comes to things like slang and AAVE, and how different terminologies become this sort of modge podge online, because a lot of it is regional dialects, and people end up like mixing it and, like I said, modge podging it together, and then it's just being seen as like TikTok speak or Gen Z speak, or I feel like we're Gen Alpha now. That's the younger people online. And it's like, no, this is, you're just you're doing a bastardized, um it's a bastardized um slang, AAVE, bastardized AAVE, terrible Black sense. It's also just another thing when like it feels as though like someone coming out of like child star stuff, they go through a quote unquote rebellious phase, which ends up being like their kind of hip hop phase, and then they don that like it's a costume that they can then take off, and then they change and they calm down and all this stuff, and it's like, yeah, no, so you have the privilege to do that, to wear our culture as a costume and then take it off as your own convenience because you're using that as a means to create buzz around you, and then you take it off once you gain the audience that you want. This is like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? Like, I hate it here. But anyway, so Sylvie's talking to her husband because he's like, aren't they great or whatever? And he's like, and she's just like, they're bigots. Literally. Her husband told me that you're basically getting hired because the NAACP, or you're getting the clients that you're getting because the NAACP is coming for your company. And he's like, and it's a $500,000 worth, like deal or whatever. Like not carrying. I'm like, oh, you're a fucking scrub, man. I hate you. Uh, so he doesn't care about her career or anything. He doesn't care about her dreams or anything like that. And I'm like, this is so fucking obnoxious. I hate him. And at this point, Robert is reintroduced into her life and she does run into him. Mona, she was supposed to go see this performance with Mona, but she gets stood up and it's like a minute before the performance starts. And she's just like, hey, do you want to just come watch this with me? I have an extra ticket. They enjoy it together and he wants to catch up. They go out to eat. He notices the wedding ring and he's like, "Oh, wow. Couldn't wait for me, I guess." Tears. And he tells her where he's staying and they part for the night and he's about to order like takeout or whatever or something. I forgot. He's like on the phone for some reason, but it's not important. And she knocks on his hotel door and they fuck. But it's like a fade to black situation. Not, we don't actually, like, we see some, no, it's not fade to black. We do see some things, but not, it's all very artistically done. And so they're able to get physical after 5 years. Can't believe it. And she tells him that she has a child, and he's like, "Oh, the lore thickens, eh? Not only are you married, but you have a child, and you're here with me. That's crazy." And you could tell she was like holding back from saying like, "The child is yours. The child is yours." But she doesn't. God, this is a long movie. This is a long movie. And I was like, if this doesn't end with them together, her divorcing this husband, and her having like a amazing career in television, I will hate this movie. Like legitimately, I will hate this movie. So, um I'm like, let's kind of speed run. So at this point we do get to him finding out. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. So he's on the phone talking to her dad. Her dad tells him that the daughter that she has is actually his child. While he's on the phone learning this information, Dickie shows up kissing the countess. And this is after, Dickie is questioning. No, sorry. This is after Robert is questioning how Dickie can live in such a big, beautiful place. He has this wife who's Eva Longoria. And I'm like, you're cheating on your wife who's Eva Longoria with this white lady? Come on now. Um, so after he's questioning all that, he then sees Dickie drunk making out with the Countess and also learning that he has a daughter and it's just like a lot. And so her dad ends up passing away. And not only does that happen, she like right before that happens, she's at like this holiday party is New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. That's what Robert was at as well. That's why he's over at Dickie's house. she finds out that the producer she's been assisting for is getting married to the guy who owns Esquire, I think, because his last name was Esquire. And I was like, oh, big money. She is moving up. And so she's actually quitting her job as the producer there. And she's like, I'm going to leave, but, it is what it is. And Sylvie's all sad because she's like, I guess I'll see if the new producer needs an assistant. And her boss is just like, well, I mean, if you need an assistant, yeah. And she's like, what do you mean? And so Sylvie ends up getting the job as the producer. She moves up from being a producer's assistant to a producer, and it's just like, ah, that's so great for her. And then, she then finds out that her dad passed away from a heart attack. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like double sad because this actor actually passed away in real life. So I'm like, I didn't cry, but I was still just like sad. And so then she also says that phrase of like, life is short. I want to spend time doing what I love. And this is also while the wake is happening, and the husband is just like, you're doing a bad job as a host. You need to come out here and entertain these people. I'm just like, shut the fuck up. You can entertain. And she does tell him that you can entertain too, because she has to do a lot of work. And she's like, and he's just like, can't the work wait? And then that's when she says that phrase. And then she's like, I'm tired of trying to live as the woman of your dreams. I want to live as a woman of my own dreams. And he's just like, how do I fit in to that? And she's just like, I don't think you do. Like, you did a noble thing of marrying me while I was pregnant. Um, but yeah, like, I don't think we're a good fit. And he's just like, you might have thought of that as noble, but I was genuinely in love with you. And I was like, were you in love with her? Or like the idea of her? Because obviously she wasn't happy. And so they get a divorce. We don't see divorce proceedings or anything like that because that is not important to the story. But we do see her more active. She's the producer now. And Robert finds out that she has a divorce. She got a divorce. And he ends up driving off to see her. And she talks to him, tells him about her dad passing. And he's like, I know. He told me about Michelle as well. And, it's like this heartfelt moment of, her and him, and there's like longing and lust and everything like that. And he's like, I need to make money. I need to make more money because now I have like a family to provide for. And so even though there were opportunities for him to like go off on his own, like record music on his own and stuff, he talks to one of the recording engineers, audio engineers, there we go, at the studio. And he's like, jazz is kind of dead. We got there's a blind kid now, Stevie Wonder, who plays the harmonica. Very different music. I was like, oh my God, is that time period? That's crazy. I mean, jazz isn't dead, it's evolved, but he was just like, yeah, there's not really, space for you anymore. Like, there isn't, that's not what the kids are listening to anymore. And, so that was like an opportunity in down. And then he runs into this guy called Big Tank from his hometown in Detroit. And he's like, Big Tank is just like, I work for Motown, like I'm one of the guy's right hand mans, and I could totally get you a gig there. And so Robert, Sylvie, and Michelle are getting closer. Robert is more in Michelle's life. It's all very cute, wholesome, and stuff. And then Robert is telling Sylvie Like, I might have an opportunity in Detroit. And I think we should all like move there as a family, think about it. And so she's just like, yeah, no, let's do it. Let's go. I'm totally thinking about it. And so no, no. Before that, Robert goes all the way to Detroit. He goes to Motown. He sees Big Tank. Big Tank's like, oh shit, I didn't think you would actually show up. I actually was just talking out my ass, and I don't actually have that kind of power. I can't give you work. I'm so sorry. I'm only like an assistant. And so that's another opportunity that Robert doesn't have. And he comes back to New York sooner than later. And Sylvie's just like, oh my God, I didn't expect you this soon. I already talked to people. They said I basically have a job in Detroit. I just have to walk in. I would have to work my way up again, but that's okay. Like a job is a job, like you said. And, this is like after Robert watches her do her thing as a producer and seeing how passionate she is about her work and what she's doing in New York and everything like that. And he has such this like serious face and he's just like, yes, I'm going to go to Detroit, but I don't want you to come with me. And I was just like, there's 30 minutes left. What do you mean you don't want her to come with you? Um, and things like that. And he's not wanting to like talk to her about like how he doesn't have a job, he doesn't actually have any opportunities, or anything like that. He doesn't want to talk through it with her and just decides to leave because he was like, I want you to be happy whether or not I am in your life. And he could tell how happy she was and felt like she would be miserable in Detroit while he was trying to figure his own shit out. And so he just decides to leave her to work back in the steel mill in Detroit, make money and everything, work his way up and stuff, but without telling her. And I was like, why are you both stubborn and selfish? You think you're doing a selfless act here, but she would have figured it out because she loves you. But what happens is, she what is it? Mona's like going all over. Mona was in Atlanta. So the reason Mona stood her up is because she was in Atlanta helping with like voter rights down there. She's in DC, doing all kinds of they were protesting in DC. That's a big thing about the things that like Martin Luther King Jr. was doing and stuff is like a lot of the boycotting and protesting, it didn't just happen on one day, one year. It was an accumulation of things happening since like the late 50s all the way up to 1968 when like the voter when a lot of the civil rights um things were won, like it was like at least a decade worth of stuff happening to get to that point. It didn't just happen overnight, like it had to be continuous. So it was definitely interesting learning more about that because yeah, shit doesn't happen overnight. You have to be persistent. You have to keep going. And I think the biggest thing is like working in community with people, um, doing things like community not community fundraising, but like community funds and making sure that like people have their basic needs and whatnot. But to go back, Sylvie finds out the truth about what's going on with Robert, and then she goes all the way to Detroit and just, tells him like, I would have figured it out, like I would have made it work, like I love you. And then they share a kiss, and that's the end of the movie. And I'm like, okay, well they'll be together, but I don't like this. and and like there were definitely cute moments, and even though I hate her fucking husband, but I hate the idea of that kind of man in someone's life of just like not being supportive to your partner, not trying to encourage your partner. He was barely on the screen, but like I just hate that in general. And I'm like, that's not even um strictly a man thing. That's just like a bad partner thing. It's like, why are you like if you can't cheer on your partner, why are y'all together, you know? Like if you're not uplifting each other and if you're not even like friends with your partner, like why are y'all together? And I'm like that's another reason why I'm like I haven't been with anyone in a while because I not only want like long-term partnership, but I want like long-term like friendship and I am fulfilled with my friendships in like a very platonic way. I'm fulfilled by myself, you know, so it's like if you come into my life, um, you know, how do you add to it when I'm already fulfilled in this way? So, that's why I'm like I'm not stressing about it either cuz I'm like, yeah, I'm like going to be 33 this year. Maybe I'll have children eventually. We'll see. It really just depends on like if I'm with somebody that I care about a lot and am more financially stable. Because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to just bring in a child and not be able to like provide for them financially and things like that, you know? Like I don't want to feel like I'm giving up something in order to provide because that could build resentment and like that's not good either. I follow so many like parenting things and I'm like, "Oh yeah, no, I do want children." I'm like not I was just like justifying it as like, "Oh, I'm trying to figure out how to deal with people or like inner child healing." And it's not like those aren't things that I wasn't trying to heal and help, but it's also like these are lessons that I could take into eventually having my own children, you know? But we'll see. I don't know if that'll happen. We'll see what the universe has in store for me. And I think I'll end it there. Yeah, like happy Valentine's Day or whatever. Being able to talk about Sylvie's love, which is like, I mean, no, she got with him. I think I wanted more like slice of lifey. It was very way more drama than I expected. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram at the underscore new R underscore. I have a Patreon that I plan on posting on eventually. Patreon.com/VNoirs Film Club. Check out my podcast archive at www.nwwitapod.com. I'm actually like redoing it and moving it to like WordPress, I think. So it'll look a little bit nicer. The Substack, that's the reason I got rid of Substack because I just want it all in one place. So the blogs related to the podcast will be on the website, not a separate thing. And you can also like stream the pod on the website as well. So that'll be nice. Probably be up by like next week. I just I need to like get the colors right and all that fun stuff. And yeah, happy Valentine's Day. Happy Galentine's Day. Happy Frienentine's Day. I don't know. Mm, I don't know. Take yourself out on a date if you're single. Watch some horror movies if that's your thing instead of watching something romantic. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.